welcome to Taskforce Geek. I'm your host for the evening, Beth A. Freely, or as I like to refer to myself, Dirk 2.0. Dirk's a little busy tonight, so he asked me if I could get in the chair and steer this crazy ship. Our featured guest tonight is Gregg A. Alexander, all the way from lovely Great Britain. So be kind to him. He's, past the midnight mark. And, I'm welcoming Ben Soto to the show tonight.
Hi.
And we've got fan favorite Steve Shank. And, of course, Kat Pryde is joining us to round out this crazy 2 hours of fun. So why don't we get started? And let's talk with Gregg.
Like that music.
Serious.
Isn't that music great? Isn't that awesome?
I grew up in the 90s, and like that is just sort of like you're sort of like chill out, you've just left the rave, you want like chill out music, kind of like yeah, that's great.
See, Dirk's the one that picked all of this, so now we know what Dirk was thinking. He was raving at the time. Yeah,
Dirk is living the house vibe.
He is living the house vibe. Telling you. So tonight we welcome Gregg Alexander, who is a British-American writer and musician out of Manchester, England. His stories have been published by Erie River Press and Nocturnal Sirens Publishing, and he is the creator of the horror comics Keepsakes and Obsolete. He's got a little story about Megadeth we're going to talk about later. Welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody. It's great to meet you all, and great to be here.
So let's dive into it. Tell us about your horror comics, Keepsakes and Obsolete.
Okay, so Keepsakes was the first comic I ever put out. So it was kind of a culmination of a few different things. We had the idea of trying to put out I had this sort of the idea of like, I was sort of in my like mid to late 30s. Like, I need to actually like do this comics thing. I believe I can do it. I believe in myself. I should just actually hire some artists to write some of the stories I've been coming up with. And so I came up with a couple of different ones. I hired artists to write them, and then sort of thought about it. And then could I put this into a full length, 24-page comic book? So I did, and it basically ended up being a kind of Tales from the Crypt-esque thing where I took these, 2 stories I already had. I commissioned a few other stories, and basically tried to build a kind of a wraparound story to wrap all these different ideas together. So the idea is two sort of young adults go to their father's house after he dies and go through his old weird stuff in his basement and find all of these strange souvenirs and keepsakes. And as they go through, all of his different boxes and find all these weird artifacts from his collection, it sort of triggers all of these stories from his past, or not from his past, but all these stories from the past of these items to pop up. As the story goes along, it basically comes out that he is a collector of, in this case, something sort of derived from like the idea of like, like real live, real crime collectors. Right. Yeah. There's sort of there's an aspect of like people who will like collect things from, buy things from eBay, related to actual real crimes, or and in this case I kind of came up with the conceit of people came up with like real life horror, like things that are connected to supernatural events and things like that. So it is a Tales from the Crypts types set of stories wrapped around this sort of exaggerated true life crime conceit.
It sounds fun. Do you have any hanging around there that we could see?
So let me, I'll pull up a couple of panels from it, but if anybody is interested, it is, So it's difficult now, unfortunately, because Comixology has gone to hell. But
yeah.
It is. I have put it up on Kindle. You cannot seek it out on Kindle, but and I'll share. One second here. Hold on.
What's on your cup, Kat?
I love that cup, Kat. That is very
Who
Deadpool.
do you think is on my cup? It's my trash husband.
It's your trash husband.
I've called him that for ages. Yep. So, like I said, I'm repping Marvel today, so I just felt like I just go all in on it.
I need a cup like that with my trash husband on it. Which, if anybody wonders, my trash husband is Venom, aka Eddie Brock. So.
I feel like that's so appropriate for reasons that people on this call don't even know. It's great. I love it.
Shank probably can figure it out.
Oh dear.
I don't know. Ben's watched enough of the shows to probably figure it out too. So,
although I am really excited that this one's getting his third movie finally. So
yes, I know. Finally,
really excited. With Sean Levy directing, so that's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Huh.
Yep.
Couldn't help but notice during your trash husband talk, Beth, that both Ben and I remained a little mute there.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I love that.
I'm
All right,
surprised,
so
Steve.
that's the cover. I've been sort of like trying to find. I've trying to find like actual like sequential art from the book, and unfortunately they have not kept that up. But that is the cover. It is cover is drawn by Vincent Van Hoof, who is a Seattle-based artist, well, slightly outside of Seattle, but the Seattle area. So one of the things you're probably going to see with a lot of my my comic stuff is I am real into old school Vertigo. And that is,
okay.
I was kind of looking for something very Dave McKean-esque, very photo bashed. So yeah, that is, and that is unfortunately that is one of the characters from one of the sort of villains, the fireman.
That is brilliant.
Sort of, that's a beautiful cover.
Conjured up from the weird imagination of a child who heard the idea of a fireman and didn't quite understand the concepts behind it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at your site earlier, and there are a couple of the art panels that were on your keepsakes column of your comics page, and I love the black and white treatment, the ink treatment. So
the whole thing is black and white, which I think ended up being the kind of the right choice for this kind of situation. It's a honestly, there's not a lot of black and white stuff coming out right now, and just coming up in the 90s, being around sort of that like 90s indie aesthetic. I'm a big fan of it.
Well, and it works well. It's beautiful.
If anybody wants to check out Gregg's site, that's it there, rolling across the bottom.
Yep. Ritual83.rap. I try to keep the Ritual 83 branding the same. I'll eventually probably give up on it, but yeah, it's just it ended up being an easy thing for me to register on multiple sites, and I kind of like the idea of I don't know if you're into like Japanese video games at all, but there's a lot of like designers who will have like their name and then a number, like Swery 57, people like that. So it just became like Ritual 83 that's me.
Is there any reason behind the Ritual 83, or did it just sound cool?
Ritual just being I'm vaguely interested in esoteric stuff and occultism, and 83 I was born in 1983, so
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 83 makes sense. So. Yeah. Now you told me earlier you'd like to write short stories as well. What's the difference in your process between writing short stories and comics?
So short stories, I tend to have to short stories end up going through a lot more variations in how I write because I'm not writing for an artist, I'm writing for an audience. In the case of short stories, everything that you put down, like you put down in writing, ends up being part of the story. So you actually have to be very, very careful and very concise about what you're putting down. Whereas with writing for comics and writing for an artist, you end up being very, very, at least, maybe some other people are not, but me, I'm a lot more conversational. And I'll be like, this looks like this, and like, look at this Google image, and refer to this when you're when you're trying to write or trying to draw. Whereas like with when you're writing for a short story, it's so much more. I'm trying to set a mood. I'm trying to set a tone. I'm trying to build that with words versus telling an artist, this is the tone that I'm going for. Yeah. This is the thing I'm trying to do. Do that on the page because I can't.
as an author, I can relate that to speaking with a graphic artist for a book cover and trying to explain what we're looking for with the book cover, or even when you create book trailers, trying to find the right video clip for the book trailer. So, of course, I open up the floor for anybody. If you have any questions, or if any of our viewers have questions for Gregg, please go ahead and comment, and we will get it. We will get it out there for you.
The premise behind Keepsakes, reading about it, is that the literally Keepsakes was an SD card. Among other things that actually present their own story. I'd go into depth as to how you came about that. I love that concept.
It was sort of it was basically trying to build a narrative backwards. It was sort of, I had two stories and I had a few other completely like separate ideas for different short stories. And the idea was like, going back to not just like Tales from the Crypt, but like there's a lot of old school British movies that have sort of like they're like short 30-minute things, stories that'll all be like tied together around a sort of a branching narrative. And there's like other things. There's American movies like this, like Trilogy of Terror, if you've ever seen those from the 90s. Things like that. And it was just trying to find like what was going to be the thing that ties all these things together. And like those, those old school like British movies, I was thinking like Amicus is one of the companies that used to do stuff like that, and they did actually a Tales from the Crypt movie. There was a movie I really liked when I was a kid called The Monster Club, which was Vincent Price as a vampire, sort of initiating a guy into.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, and it had a kind of one of them had like a really, really cool like Bernie Wrightson tribute art style to it. But I wanted to find like a story that could like branch everything together, and I kind of came up with this whole idea of a brother and sister. Their estranged father dies, and they're going through his old stuff and finding all of the weird secrets and all of the things that he's been obsessed with. Because I think we all have that one relative that has gotten weird into something. Like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but they got weird into something. It could be conspiracy theories, or it could be model trains. It could be anything, but like they're weird into something.
Nah.
Beth's trying to act innocent over here, and we all know better. But anyway,
you guys are lucky you can't see my Lego collection. I mean, that's all in the other room, and there's you
and your uncle in the Lego collection. My Captain America collection is rivaling your Lego collection. So yeah, we won't discuss my Star Wars collection.
No,
but sorry. Go ahead.
I was just to say, one of the things that I really like about the concept that is just making me think of is one of my favorite horror movies is, in fact, Cabin in the Woods, which utilizes that concept of the basement of stuff. And one of the few like it's not a misstep. It's just one of those things of like, I wish they'd go back and do more with it. Was that there's the whole basement and you kind of get like tiny bits and pieces, but like they choose like the one like super reliable monster to go with. But there's so many more interesting stories to be told. And I am a sucker anytime for horror stories that have like this, look at this bucket of stuff that could all have a unique story behind it. And, you know, which ones are the poor protagonist going to run into.
Yep.
But I love that it's kind of that you've kind of got like a true crime vibe to it. That's really like really unique. And I like that. I've not seen much of that in like more recent horror short story type stuff. Like the closest I can think of is VHS, and even then VHS is not really like that. VHS is much more branching into the supernatural, but without even like a true crime backing to it.
Yeah, so I think that VHS and one of the things from some of the same creators, Southland, which was sort of they made, I think, 3 VHS movies, and then they made sort of Southland as a, you know, not an unofficial sequel to that. Those were big influences. So we have all the different like short stories in there kind of have a different vibe. We have one which is I tried to create like the idea of a found footage movie in a comic, and I don't know if I got there, but I definitely got something I haven't seen other places. Like the idea of like there being like a POV camera in certain like panels. I don't think I've seen a lot of other places. So I have a story like that. I have a story which is very sort of like almost like children's story, kind of children's nightmare thing, which is where that fireman character came from the cover. I have one other story which is very influenced by like Junji Ito and very abstract like Japanese manga style, which I ended up hiring like an actual like mangaka from actually Indonesia, but very, very inspired by
cool.
to do. And then you know, there's a few others in there, but I'm really excited kind of about like trying to push all those different styles of art together, and like, you know, the one constant being, you know, me writing and trying to like come up with all these different ideas.
Well,
Walt
I'll
is,
definitely be looking it up for sure.
Walt saying, "What's up,
Walt man?"
Hey, Walt.
Hey, well,
Hey, Walt.
Missing you here tonight, buddy."
Eh,
I don't know if you know who Mr. Ballin is. I don't know if you've heard of him. He has a YouTube channel and kind of retells these kind of stories, weird crime, weird horror kind of stuff. And one of the stories he tells is about the Dybbuk box. And I don't know if you've heard that story or not, but I thought that was a really cool story. And that premise kind of reminds me of that story.
Yeah, the sort of the idea of the Dybbuk, that is sort of a Kabbalah kind of not genie, but kind of like where that genie kind of idea came from, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
It's one of those ones you kind of want to stay away from because those are usually pretty dangerous in any type of horror story.
Yeah.
So
There is a mediocre adaptation involving the Dybbuk box story of a more recent horror film.
Is that Possession or The Possession or something?
I think,
the one with
and I think it has Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, if I'm thinking of that one.
Is it the one with Modest Yahoo in it?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah.
I remember
Is he
that.
acting?
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Is he acting? Well, it's debatable. But no, I mean, I like the movie, but I also know that it's taking something that has a lot of baggage behind it and cultural sensitivity and it's, you know, it's giving it the Hollywood treatment. So not everybody likes that, but I'm obviously I'm a sucker for horror movies, and anything supernatural horror I dive right into. So
since she watched her first Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street with me.
Yes,
Right.
because slashers, it took me a lot longer to get into.
No, it was not. Yeah, but man, you loved the concept behind Nightmare on Elm Street. Even as a kid, she was like, "Yeah, Beth, let's watch Nightmare on Elm Street." Okay,
I love that.
This
I
rating's
come
my
on here and you
favorite,
just out me
so-
as your niece like every flipping time. You're just
Yes,
like, this is my
yeah.
niece. This is my niece.
Because
Did
I'm proud of
everybody
you. Be quiet. Stop it.
know? Nepotism. Just kidding.
Walt says he expected
Well-
that F from Steve.
Yeah, he realized it was a sarcastic but whatever.
Well, yeah.
Well, Greg, man, I'm fully stoked. I'm gonna go find keepsakes. Fully stoked. My God, I'm from the '90s, aren't I? I'm gonna go find keepsakes, but I definitely want to hear you talk about obsolete as
Yeah.
well.
What's going
Yeah,
on with
absolutely.
obsolete?
So obsolete is, and I'll share the cover of this too, and this is a definitely a
Oh, love this cover. That is
Yeah,
so
let me-
cool.
Easy, Steve. Easy.
All right, man. I get excited about cool art, and this
He's
is
like,
just
forget
cool
it. I'm
art.
already on the website.
Steve's been all over the website today.
I have been actually. I get
Yep.
excited about new stuff, and I was really excited about the look of
at
this.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's another
I told
another.
you.
I am very influenced by Vertigo, and this one was also like it was Vertigo. So when I was sending, so this is a different artist. This is Stephen Lindsay, who does art as the Iron Parasite. He's mostly the cover artist for like metal bands and industrial bands, but he's a really cool dude. He's based in Ireland, which is not part of the UK, but it's very adjacent. He is a really cool
Very
guy.
adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
UK adjacent.
yeah, I mean, like, you know, sharing landmass with part of it, I guess.
Yes.
He's a really cool dude. I sent him a few different pictures of Vertigo covers, and then I sent him I don't know if anybody here is familiar, the band Rammstein.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
second
yeah.
album, Sehnsucht, had the booklet for that had the pictures of the band in various like medical fetish and like kind of like bondage
Yeah.
apparatus. And I was sort of like, do something like this. I sent him a picture of one of the main characters, Sandra, and just sort of like, here's the main character, and have her in becoming technology in some fashion. So the basic concept of the world in, thank you, Dirk. So the basic concept of the world is that imagine in 1996 if the government basically said, we're good on technology, we don't need to develop any more technology, this whole internet thing you're getting into, we don't want it anymore. So the idea of there being a hacker attack that like the US government freaks out about and just basically says, no more internet, no more network technologies, nobody gets anything like that. And it's sort of the idea is like, you know, in 2060, what would the world look like after that? So everything is just kind of like hypercharged versions of things that existed in the 80s and 90s. So, there's HD video, but it's VHS HD, or like the idea of like there's like video cameras, but it's like, you know, it's very high quality analog cameras. And the idea that the only people that this rule didn't exist for is government agencies and for military contractors. And then, you know, without a lot of oversight, what happens with military contractors? They sort of start experimenting. So the comic sort of picks up, you know, after a lot of that has happened. Some of these military experiments have kind of woken up and have kind of started breaking into the world, breaking out of, you know, where they were encased within. So things that are neither entirely human and not entirely technology, kind of breaking out and, you know, assimilating things. You know, making things that are technology more human, making things that are human more technology. And the two main characters of the story are two bartenders, based in one of the more sort of like blue collar rundown parts of the city that they live in. You know, they're two queer women, and they are, you know, they're just trying to like live life, trying to exist as human beings. And what happens when people, you know, who are, you know, a little bit more blue collar, a little bit more gruff, a little bit more, you know, cynical, have to sort of deal with a lot more of a lot more of an existential threat than maybe they're used to. So it's one of those stories. So it's very influenced by 90s movies like Hardware, 80s and 90s movies like Tetsu the Iron Man, which is a really, really cool Japanese body horror movie, and then things like Hellraiser and Blade Runner and stuff like that.
That's like right up my alley, you know, especially, you know, bringing up Blade Runner. That's definitely, you know, something I would be completely interested in reading.
When I read the description about it today, that was immediately where my head went, was
Blade Runner?
a Blade Runner environment.
Runner,
And that intrigued me beyond description. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Now, are these available on your website, Greg?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get the website updated to give links to this, but they will be right now. They are available through Amazon. Amazon Kindle, and then so Keepsakes right now has physical copies available through Etsy as well, which I have linked on the website. I'll be putting Obsolete up at the end of this week. If anybody's in the UK, let me see. I think they are the name of the company is Volume 1 Comics, are currently carrying them in the UK, and I don't have any. Volume 1 Comics. So if you go to Instagram and just type in Volume 1 Comics, you'll see their website, and you'll be able to order from them. Sort of looking for US distributors and international distributors, but I will also have an Etsy store where people can buy worldwide, and I'll ship anywhere.
Sweet.
Well, they say everybody on this thing will tell you that if I wasn't actually on here and just commenting, I would already be on the keyboard trying to get to that site.
Yeah, he would have already had it. He would have already had it. Steve and Sean and Scott and Walt and Dirk, all the guys are very good at, you know, whenever we have a Kickstarters going on here, the guys are very good at making sure that Kickstarter gets pushed over the limit. Awesome. So trust me, you're gonna probably have us lining up to get these comics.
That's great, because Obsolete. So Obsolete, I give it the subtitle First Transmission, and I think the next one is going to be called Obsolete Second Stage. I'm hoping to get that rolling. I'll be talking with the artists, Justin M. Ryan and Daniela Barrison, who are both incredibly talented people. I'll be talking to them probably in the next few months about getting volume 2 of this rolling, and that will be up on the Kickstarter.
So First Transmission is already available, correct?
That is already available. That is on. So that is currently on Kindle and Comixology. Okay. Comixology search doesn't work, so you'll have to look it up on the Amazon website, unfortunately. But so that's up there, and by the end of this week, you will be able to get Obsolete, a physical copy through my Etsy, and I will have all of this linked through ritual83.rip.
Okay.
Awesome.
Dirk beat me to it. Dirk beat me to it.
Dirk just bought it.
Dang it.
Steve was going to go for that clout. He was so going to go for it.
You tried.
Like, come on.
Dirk got you this time.
Where can I turn my camera off?
Dirk's usually hosting these, so he doesn't always get a chance to get the jump on Steve. So there we go. There we go.
That's all right. I'll get there.
When you there you go, Steve. He's playing.
Nice. No, Dirk, that means you got to come with a whole column full of snarky comments all night long. So
yes, and a love of fan fiction. We won't
Oh,
go
I don't
there.
know what you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about.
So when you get second transmission ready and you get the Kickstarter, fired up, please come back on the show so that we can tell everybody about it and get that rolling too.
I'd absolutely
for
love
sure.
to.
Yeah. Now you're also a musician. What kind of music you play?
So I'm sort of in the goth, dark wave, industrial music
Nice.
kind of space.
Very sweet.
I have a project called Spire Circle. If you want to, you can. If you go to my Twitter, which is at @ritual_83, I'll have I have everything there. But if you are just looking for my music, you can just go to Spire Circle, all one word, SPIRECIRCLE.bandcamp.com, and you can see everything I've released so far. It's a lot of different types of music within those genres. The next thing I'm going to be putting out is probably going to be a full length, and that's going to be very like post-punk, dark wave kind of music. I have 3 songs written and recorded. I have 6 songs written and recorded already. 3 songs I'm just waiting to get stuff scheduled to record the vocals for.
So are you more kind of front 242-ish, KMFDM, Ministry, a little darker than that?
So the dark wave stuff. So the industrial rock stuff I have up there is sort of I would say like ChemLab meets Front 242 kind of stuff. The stuff that I'm doing right now is a lot more dark wave, a lot more goth rock stuff, which is a lot more like, so it's very kind of Zymox meets The Cure kind of stuff. So that's kind of the direction I'm going right now. And then the most recent singles I've put out are a lot more like I guess like grunge rock takes on that kind of idea. So like, imagine a Cure song played by Queens of the Stone Age or something.
Oh, I'd rather not.
I don't know about you guys, but I know what I'm listening to the next time I'm working on a script. That's
exactly right.
Yeah,
there you go.
absolutely.
What are some of the bands that influenced you other than the ones that you've mentioned? Because that's pretty much a given.
Oh, sure, yeah. So there's I'll go with I'll bring up like newer bands that I'm listening to. That might be good. So there's a synth pop band called Trust that I really like. TR/ST. They're really good. There's a band called there's a musician called Gallo, GVLLOW, and he has sort of a I would say probably like a kind of like indie punk take on like almost like 45 Grave, like the old school LA death rock kind of sound. I really like I really like some of the kind of like 2010s bands like Blacklist and trying to remember one of the other bands, but and Entertainment, really good. And then just going backwards from there, Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry, Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus. I have a Sisters of Mercy tattoo.
Nice.
And yeah, that's kind of been my music since I was like 13 or 14 years old, and I'm 38 now, so it's probably not a phase.
What's the music scene in Manchester like nowadays?
It's very college indie, I want to call it. But there's a lot of different stuff out there. There's a pretty good hip hop scene here. There's a pretty good metal scene. There's a really good metal scene. Not just like in Manchester, but kind of in the northwest of the UK. Like extreme metal, like death metal, black metal, thrash metal kind of stuff. There's a few like industrial and goth bands here and there. Not as many as probably were in the 80s, but there's definitely a lot of just a lot of kind of different stuff out there. And then there's the stuff that I'm super not that big into, like indie rock and pop stuff.
I know Manchester was always a big, even in the 80s, it was a big center of metal and stuff. So it's good to see that it's still hanging out there.
Yeah.
Oh, and breakbeat techno, man. I just found out, in fact, you being in Manchester, you're about to get visited by the Prodigy and their new iteration since they lost Keith Flint. So man, I am stupid jealous that you're going to be able to hit that if you need it.
Yeah. I think we have tickets to that. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it's Manchester is the second biggest city in the UK, so any show, any band that's sort of playing London will usually also play Manchester. So
nice.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here the Prodigy were supposed to be here in Dallas 2 weeks before or after Flint killed him, passed away. So missed my chance there, but man, it's that's a big deal that they're getting back out there.
Yeah, I had a similar thing back when I lived in the States. We had tickets to see Massive Attack in LA, and then kind of the week before, or a couple of weeks before that was supposed to happen, Keith Flint died. And we, my partner and I, both kind of think that that's why they postponed the show. We just ended up, just like traveling to LA and just kind of wandering around, kind of in a like, what do we do? We're in LA. We have no idea what to do kind of situation, and just kind of thinking like, we're supposed to see a show here, and a lot of stuff happened.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a dark period for me. I grew, back in the early 90s is when I discovered the Prodigy. They played them on a radio station here, 94.5 The Edge, and they had every Friday night they had a club session where they would absolutely just rip up house and breakbeat and just mix the snot out of it. And the Prodigy popped up, and that started that love affair, and then suddenly it just violently ended in 2019. So.
Yeah.
And Steve, if you don't mind me asking, what part of the country you're in?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Steve and I are in Texas. Kat's in Florida. Ben, where are you at?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're all kind of central, close to each other. Lower 48.
Yeah.
Except for Kat, she's over on that, weird handle.
I mean, technically,
Florida.
Lower 48. We're just like the nicest, most tropical part of.
Yeah.
Lower 48.
And Kat, are you in Central Florida? Are you in?
Yep, I am in Central Florida, as evidenced by all of my my Universal and Disney merchandise. I'm in Central Florida, so
nice. Yeah, I lived in Tampa for many years, and I will always have like the deep love in my heart for Florida and all of its weirdness.
Oh yeah. I really do feel like John Mulaney said it best when he was like, Florida is like when you invite all of the weird relatives, like all the people who would never socialize, and you put them all at Thanksgiving dinner at the same time. Because it's very, very diverse group of people with very different opinions on a lot of things.
Yes, that's Florida. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then there was a
Dirk says we're talking about a lot of cool music.
Yeah, you didn't realize the Taskforce Geek turned into a Taskforce Music House.
Hey,
it's gonna go to Pandora and start like entering band names, and then we'll find them a week later.
Yeah.
And then
Patton Oswalt had a great skit kind of about Florida, which was like, Florida is a place where everybody is alpha all the time.
It
doesn't matter who you are, what we like. Like, whether you're like the femmiest like gay dude on the planet, you are the alpha femmy gay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Here I'm like aggro comic, like I feel like I have to be all of the things when I'm hanging out with people. So it's like I am the Gryffindor. I am the YOLO Gryffindor. I am like the most nerdy of all of my friends. It's like you can't not do that in Florida.
Yeah.
I love Pensacola.
Cheers.
I'm gonna die in Pensacola.
My friend lives in Pensacola, or lived in Pensacola for many years. Referred to it as the dirty boot for some reason, and then
okay,
yeah,
sure.
and was is very just had a whole thing about like, I'm going like, kind of a self-destructive dude. one of my best friends, like when I'm in my 20s, but it was very much like, yeah, I'm gonna get trashed at every Applebee's in Pensacola.
You know what? When I move there, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, you'll have to. He'll probably be back there at that point. Trying to get drunk with you at Applebee's.
Hey, let's hit it, man. Between that,
make sure you do
Waffle
it
House,
live.
we're on it.
Make sure you do it live so we can watch.
Oh, it'll be a stream. Don't worry. It might be a little waggy, but
that's all right. That's all. It's all good as long as we can
just
watch.
handy cam footage. It's fine.
Oh yeah, the iPhone footage might be a little wonky, but it'll be all right.
We'll get you what are those? We'll get you a GoPro, Steve. Whoa! Set him up with a GoPro, man. Set him up with a GoPro. So, Greg, tell us about your encounter with Dave Mustaine of Megadeth.
Yes, this I want to hear.
So when I'm not sure. Okay, I was either 17 or 18. I had gotten into this like weird friendship with. So I had kind of come out as bisexual, queer, not straight dude about a year or two before. And I had ended up going out on a date with this dude called Ben. And Ben was bi-curious or something, but basically very scared of being scared of telling his parents.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
So we transitioned from two dudes who were going out on dates together to two dudes who went to shows together.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
And so like we basically went to everything that happened at the State Theater in St. Petersburg, Florida. From there, basically there was some weekend where Megadeth were coming to town. It was I don't know if it was either right after Risk or right before the thing that came right after Risk, and I'm not sure that, but it's basically Megadeth came to town and they played an acoustic show at
I think it might have been Symphony of Destruction came after Risk.
Symphony of Destruction. Hold on. Symphony of Destruction I think was before. So Risk was the thing after so Risk Megadeth.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Because I know they did some Symphony of Destruction. I know they did some of those.
It was The World Needs a Hero. So it was to promote The World Needs a Hero. So it was kind of their return to metal, but obviously to promote this, they play an acoustic show because water instruments anyway.
Yeah,
that's a bit mind blowing. Megadeth doing an acoustic show.
Yeah, so it was like, and it was right after Marty Friedman left them. So they had the lead guitarist who most recently toured with Alice Cooper, I want to say. Nice. But yeah, they were. So they came to town. So they basically did an acoustic show and a meet and greet. It was kind of interesting to hear them play like Symphony of Destruction on acoustic instruments. That sounded okay. What was it, Hangar 81 or whatever? That didn't sound so good. But but when they did the meet and greet, sorry, Glenn Drover. Okay,
yeah, Glenn Drover.
So they were doing the meet and greet before the actual show, and we walk through. You have your sort of your laminate on a lanyard, and you can have them sign that or sign the album. I think I just had them sign the laminate, and Dave Mustaine just kind of like stares at me like, dude. Dude.
Somebody screenshot that quick.
Dude. Yeah. Cheer up.
Oh my God.
3 months later, this man goes to rehab.
Yep. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, so that's
classic Mustaine right there. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's in a much better place now, but in 2001, not so much.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of stuff going down with Megadeth in 2001. So
yeah,
but yeah. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. So what else do you have coming up the pike?
All right, so I'll give the couple of things that I know for sure are going to be happening. I'm always working on new stories and always submitting them to anthologies, and you never know when those things are going to happen. So the two things I know for sure are going to be happening are I'm going to be working with Sick Media Comics in San Francisco. They have kind of a very Milestone Comics inspired universe. So if you want to follow them, they are on Twitter at and then comics COMICS SICK. So they are Sick Media Comics, and they are that on Instagram as well. So they have a Milestone Comics inspired kind of universe, all based around San Francisco. So I've been talking with them a little bit. I'm going to be working with a couple of their characters to do a very sort of traditional superhero kind of story, or at least my spin on that, because I'm the horror guy.
The horror guy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do something very out of my wheelhouse, but really exciting. I love 80s and 90s Marvel and DC superhero stuff. I really like traditional just traditional superhero stuff. I love Kurt Busiek. I love Christopher Priest. I love all these the brilliant creators of the past. I love early 2000s Gail Simone. I love I love Peter David. So I want to do stuff like that. And Sick Media is going to give me the opportunity to do something in that world, or something in a kind of a traditional superhero world. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing I really want to push out there is going to be Tales from the Cloakroom.
Oh,
so that is so that is going to be a collaborative anthology that I'm working on with a lot of different writers. Some are really seasoned pros, some are brand new people. It is going to be so we're all kind of part of the Scott Snyder writing class, basically. So Scott Snyder has kind of an online writing group. So a lot of us have gotten together, and we're going to try to put out our own anthology. Kind of, we're all part of this, so we all met through that. So it's going to be. So if you want to go follow it on Twitter, it's going to be at Cloakroom Comics.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of different varieties of story. There's everything from romance to sci-fi. Obviously, I'm doing a horror story, which is going to be called The Fourth Statue in Catalina. It's going to be sort of based on a couple of different weird vacations I took as a child to both to Florida and to Mexico. And it's going to be one of the more... I'm not like a super duper Lovecraft guy anymore, but it's going to be one of the more Lovecraftian things I've ever written.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice. Sounds good. Alrighty then. Well, how about a little housekeeping real quick?
Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
So, gotta love our housekeeping video. So, if you want to continue seeing Taskforce Geek every week, we need guests. So, if you know any writers, artists, comics, musicians, anybody who, fits the title Geek, send them our way. They can email Dirk at taskforcegeek I'm thinking at gmail.com. Dirk, correct me if I'm wrong. And let us know. We have a calendar all set up, and we're looking for more people to come and talk to us and hang out with us and, just do the stuff we do. So,
What a plea. Please talk to us.
Please talk to us. We love you. All right, so moving on. Greg, you are more than welcome to continue hanging out with us, unless okay, yes.
Yeah.
Taskforce Geek at gmail.com. Let me look. I don't do this often enough, so give me Taskforce Geek at gmail.com. If if you want to be on the show or anybody, send them Dirk's way at taskforcegeek at gmail.com. Once again, that's taskforcegeek at gmail.com. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I kind of slipped out. Anyway.
Oh, Greg, sorry. One last question. The trailer that you had for Obsolete, who in the world voiced that thing over? That dude has got a voice it's deeper than the Mariana Trench.
I will dig up that fella's credits for you, but he's a fantastic voiceover actor. I don't have it at hand, but I will find that for you if you want. But yeah, he's for hire if you're ever interested in putting out a project.
Well,
please find out. Yeah,
he absolutely added intrigue to the thing because he piped in and I was like, whoa, that's James Earl Jones got nothing on this dude.
Yeah, I hired a fantastic voiceover guy for both Obsolete and for the Keepsakes trailer. The Keepsakes trailer being more sort of a dude with more of a kind of like grindhouse type voice, and then the Obsolete one being more of like a 90s.
Oh my gosh,
90s trailer guy. But he's
really, all I want to do is I want to hear him say "in a world."
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's move on a little bit here. So unfortunately, this week that we lost William Hurt, aka Thunderbolt Ross, from the MCU. Did anybody catch what he passed away from? I know he was like only 71. He wasn't all that
prostate
old.
cancer.
He was battling prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's going to throw a little bit of a kink in the works for the MCU if they were planning on doing anything further with the Hulk and the whole Thunderbolt Ross storyline. Thoughts and opinions on this, guys?
I mean,
they could also recast him. I mean, they did it with the Hulk himself, so
3 times.
3 times, yeah. So
I also feel like Thunderbolt Ross has played a pretty significant part of the MCU, but he doesn't need to be part of it going forward. I think whatever involvement he had in She-Hulk will probably be interesting and will probably kind of give them something to go off of, but I won't be surprised if that's just kind of the end of him and we see like if they are planning to do something like Thunderbolts, I won't be surprised if we just see Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character get more important.
Dirk just brought that up, that it could mess up Thunderbolts if it was going in that direction. It depends
on
which version.
But at the same time, Norman Osborn ran Thunderbolts, so I feel like they could do whatever they want with it. So.
Or Zemo ran the original version of Thunderbolts.
Did,
yeah. Well, that could easily be the way they go there. Just my personal take. William Hurt. I know there's kind of a lot going around, like in his personal life, maybe not the best dude, but like as an actor, really, really awesome. If anybody's interested in like sci-fi horror or like body horror stuff, his first movie, Altered States, is one of classic.
Phenomenal movie.
He was also part of Mr. Brooks, which is a really cool psychological horror movie with I think Michael Keaton. And he was also part of one of my favorite comic book adaptations, which is not a superhero adaptation, History of Violence. So he's been around the genre, but he's also been around the movie world for a very long time, and he is just a journeyman. He's dig into his back catalog. He's a very talented dude, and R.I.P.
Yeah,
made his first appearance in Kojak.
Yes.
The TV
wow.
series back in 1977.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dirk S was his last film. Black Widow. No, actually,
No,
his last film
King's Daughter.
was called The King's Daughter. Yeah. And yes, Altered States is. I remember seeing Altered States when it first came out, and it was great. He was also in The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby in 2013. Ridley Scott's Robin Hood in 2010, which I actually did not know, which I think is interesting. The Good Shepherd with directed by Robert De Niro in 2006. AI, Artificial Intelligence, directed by Steven Spielberg. And this man just had a pedigree like no tomorrow.
First time, I mean, he was in a couple of movies like The Big Chill, obviously, early on. But the first time I ever heard of him or ever actually really paid attention was Broadcast News.
Yep. Children of a Lesser God, which I know a lot of people forget about that. One that I love was where'd it go? 1998's Lost in Space.
Yeah,
never saw
He
that
wasn't that.
May not be the best movie ever, but he was great as John Robinson in that.
Great soundtrack. Great soundtrack. Thank you, Apollo 440. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Walt brings up his portrayal of the Challenger disaster investigation is ironic. The investigator, yes, he did. Yep. I was working for Challenger was in 86. Columbia was in.
What's that?
Columbia was in 2008, wasn't it?
Columbia was 2003.
2003.
2003.
I knew I was working at the NTTC when the Columbia went.
Challenger was 1986.
Was 86, yeah. So R.I.P. William Hurt.
That being said, though, one of the things that I always loved about him was back when he was first cast as Thunderbolt, part of the reason for it was that his, like you said, his pedigree lent some level of, seriousness and gravitas and legitimacy. That's what I'm thinking about. Of legitimacy to the MCU, like that they were taking things more seriously, that these movies were not intended to be just like goofy. I do think that I appreciate that his character, while very easily could have been cartoony, was never cartoony. He was amusing. Sometimes he was a bit of a super villain, a little like comic booky villain, but he always brought the same level of commitment to it. And I think that gave a lot of actors that we would not see in the MCU today if he had not been involved. So his impact goes so far beyond his just his initial involvement. And for anybody out there who hasn't seen like his movies, definitely go check out his back catalog. It's astounding.
Particularly one of his lesser known films, Until the End of the World. From back in the early 90s. I only knew about it mainly because U2 did the title track for it, and I'm a huge U2 fanatic. But the entire movie, it's very art house, but at the same time, it's kind of a almost doomsday type movie. And his character was just a traveler, more or less, and he could not. That's one of my favorite roles of his. I mean, he's done so many things, but Until the End of the World was an amazing, amazing film, and nobody knows about it.
He's pretty much covered the gamut of genres as well. Everything from comedy to drama to probably there's horror in there too. I mean, he was just a very versatile actor, and it's a shame that we've lost him so fast. Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
I know, right, Walt? Right? I'm telling you, man.
Shut up, Walt.
No. Walt just needs to give me more.
I still haven't found what I'm looking for, Walt. I still haven't found it.
Just on the Thunderbolt Ross tip, him coming in, especially after the Ang Lee Hulk movie, which had Sam Elliott playing Thunderbolt Ross in a much more sort of like grisly not cowboy, but like grizzly, sort of like grizzly kind of Western kind of way. Definitely with sort of like a sort of like weird Sam Elliott always has a kind of like weird uncle vibe to him. William Hurt kind of coming in and doing a lot more of a sort of like, because he always had that kind of sort of even at his like even at his nicest, he kind of had that slimy conspiracy government guy kind of vibe to him.
That smarmy feel, yeah.
Being able to take that character in that that different direction, having and being able to follow up a character actor like Sam Elliott is really, really like just it speaks volumes to what that guy can do.
One of the things that I really liked about his portrayal of Ross was in is it Civil War, when he brings the Accords into the Avengers. He's standing there, he's talking about his own medical issues, and he brought that sense of humanity to it, which a lot of superhero movies miss. They don't have that level of humanity, and it was just the way he portrayed the character in that particular scene, kind of makes you feel a little bad for Ross and what he's having to do, and yet at the same time you're like, no, I don't feel bad for you at all.
Yeah, but it's definitely definitely interesting, especially since he hadn't been seen in the MCU for about 8 years. We weren't quite sure of the canonicity of the Ed Norton Hulk movie at the time, because obviously Ed Norton wasn't there anymore. So it was, we hadn't really seen any of those other characters. So it was really, it was interesting to see him pop up. See him pop up not wearing military gear, but wearing, wearing a suit. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Do they recast him? Do they not recast him? Do they acknowledge him as being, do they acknowledge him as being dead? It's interesting. Maybe that's an excuse to bring, because Betsy Ross, is Betsy Ross going to come back? I don't know if Betsy Ross is going to be in She-Hulk or anything like that, but
the other thing that we need to remember is we are starting to move into the multiverse of madness, which opens up an entire another can of worms for the MCU.
So what you're saying is Sam Elliott is coming back.
That's what I was just about to say.
Him and the Tom Cruise Iron Man. Oh yeah.
Hey, Wade Garrett is making an appearance. I tell you now.
You bite your tongue down there, Tom Cruise's Iron Man. I will mute you. That must be fighting words.
Like, I heard that the other day and I was just like, please don't. I mean, you could. I'm not going to care, but please don't. I mean,
my God, Kat, she just went Irish on you.
I know.
Okay. Maybe in the 1990s, Tom Cruise might have been able to,
Nope. He was busy with Eyes Wide Shut. He's done.
Literally, the only way it would work is if he's like a comical kind of like he's being Tom Cruise jumping over the couch kind of Iron Man, and even then I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
You've seen the intensity of his Mission Impossible movies, right?
But
but
do you want him to be known as the bad Iron Man, like he's known as the bad Jack Reacher? Like,
it's bad to be. It's really tough to be the bad Jack Reacher when there's only been 2 of them. That's it, and one of them is Alan Richardson.
Yes, and number 2 is the awesome Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Again.
Put up Dirk's comment. Yeah. This is that is absolutely right, and that's both scary and sad all at the same time.
Well, and we of course the whole death of actors. We started off with Chadwick Boseman. Which was just such a shock to everyone in the first place, and then there was the whole, do not recast him. But again, with the multiverse of madness now coming into it, we have been in this universe for so long that as much as we want to respect Chadwick Boseman and what he did for Black Panther, we have the ability now to bring in someone else as T'Challa.
Yeah, and there's definitely a mixed set of opinions on that, in just like in terms of like the larger fandom as well, because there's definitely this feeling that T'Challa, the character, is so important that to not have T'Challa, to try and replace that with Shuri or Nakia or Okoye is just not going to be the same. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that is like, I know where a lot of people are like, no, you need to recast him anyway, because we need the character of T'Challa. So,
especially knowing that T'Challa has gone on from being Black Panther to also leading the Avengers after Tony's death.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
so, we've got Tony's gone, Steve's gone, T'Challa in the comics steps into that hole and takes charge of the Avengers, the Avengers that we get. And I kind of have to lean on the side of, we need T'Challa more than we need to, honor Chadwick Boseman. I think if they cast it properly, it's not going to be a problem.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm definitely of two minds about it. Obviously, people have been dealing with a lot of conflicting opinions about Letitia, the actress who plays Shuri, but Shuri does have a history of wearing the Black Panther mantle herself in the comics. And it could lead into one of my favorite Shuri as Black Panther kind of arcs was the Wakanda versus Latveria war, her versus Dr. Doom. And I feel like, if you're going to be I know they're going to be bringing the Fantastic Four in there, but I kind of just being I will always understand Dr. Doom as being a Fantastic Four villain, but I think he makes sense as a Black Panther villain so much more because he's kind of the broken mirror equivalent of T'Challa and the Black Panther, where it's sort of Wakanda being sort of a hidden this sort of hidden almost utopia, this very proud, positive, strong nation of just incredibly powerful and supportive royals and their positively led kingdom versus Latveria, which is led by basically an oppressed Romani man who had to murder his way into power. It's they're it's the land of science versus the land of magic. It's just there's a lot of really cool ideas you can pull out of that. The idea, and just sort of that idea of these conflicting T'Challa or Shuri or whoever, which member of that family, you grew up in this concept of privilege where I grew up as a slave. That's there's so much you can get out of that. There's so many stories you can get out of that. So
there's a lot to work with there.
I'd love to see that. I'd really love to see that.
Yeah. And Beth, you mentioned the multiverse with the What If episodes that came out. They could always bring back Michael B. Jordan as
Killmonger, because we can bring in a completely different Killmonger from another universe and work that What If angle with Killmonger taking over as Black Panther.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, we're looking at the same situation with losing William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. Who are we going to get? Now, I would laugh my tush off if somehow they convince Sam Elliott to come back. That would be great, just for the haha value.
I don't know, man. After seeing him in 1883 recently, I think I'm kind of edged on him. That's too gruff for Thunderbolt now.
It would just be Sam Elliott bitching about gay cowboys and Benedict Cumberbatch being like, "But it's a movie. It's a movie. Those people existed. I'm sorry, but it's a movie." Sorry. That was one of the funnier things that Sam Elliott has done this year. I was like, really, man? This is the hill you want to die on? Okay.
Yeah, that's the hill he wanted to die on.
It's the hill you want to die on.
Well, I thought he died on a beach.
Walt keeps thinking about Patton Oswalt's filibustering in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, Patton Oswalt just basically told us the entire plot line of the Multiverse of Madness.
What was Dan and I were watching something the other day. Oh my God, I don't remember what it was, but I'm watching this and I'm going, I know this voice.
Hallmark Channel.
Why do I know this voice? And it was Patton Oswalt. What the heck were we? Oh,
was it Happy?
Oh, no, it was Picard. It was Picard. the female doctor on Picard, in the episode we were watching, has like this talking cat in thing, frame, whatever, and like listening to the voice and going, why do I know that voice? And for the life of me, I couldn't think of Patton Oswalt's name, but I looked at Dan. I said, he was the guy in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with all the brothers. And he looked at me and goes, Patton Oswalt? Yeah, him.
That dude pops up everywhere. I don't know if y'all watched. Well, we've referenced it before, but Justified, that show, on FX. He was absolutely. He popped up on there. I was like, get out of here. But he played that role perfectly.
Speaking of Picard, who has watched it? All right. Well, we're not going to go any further with that one. We're just going to cross that right off the list.
I meant to, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Beth, we've had this discussion.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, you guys, and I'm not that rich.
I watched the Plinkett review of the first season. I was like, yeah, probably not.
It's actually it really is good. Greg, it is good. And Kat, I sent you.
I know. We talked about it.
Okay, seriously.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I
was watching something else last night that was a horror show to button up on the fact that Greg's the guest. So we'll say that's why I did it, not the fact that I've been addicted to the show.
Well, what were you watching?
So I just finished All of Us Are Dead on Netflix, which is the adaptation of the Korean webtoon, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if we want to segue into me talking about this, but we can't.
No, save it for On Blast.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I could talk about this for a hot minute. It's
bolster.
Because the other thing that I wanted to bring up was because I know we have some wrestling fans out there. The loss of Scott Razor Roman or Razor Romaine.
Razor Ramon. Who's the whitest Latino I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
That's one of those, and I don't mean to speak ill of the dad, but when he debuted back in the day as Razor Ramon, it was one of those moments in my life where I just, my head just kept kind of cocking over a little bit further because I didn't understand how he had that accent. But whatever, it's just me.
So I had just started watching wrestling 2 months before. So like 2 months before he debuted. Like I started watching wrestling. Maybe it's a little bit longer, but I started watching wrestling like right before the Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan Survivor Series. So it was about around that time, and just seeing him. Like I had no, living in England, and like I had no conception of what Scarface was, first of all. And like no real like understanding of really like the sort of this. I don't think I'd ever seen like a Cuban person on television. Maybe Raul Julia. I think I'd seen. I think Raul Julia is Cuban. I want to say.
I think he was. I think he might have been. Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah. Seeing him in Addams Family, that was the only like Cuban person I've ever seen. So I had like no frame of reference for what this like character was. So like I just thought he was like the coolest dude.
Okay.
And then just seeing him like
I love Raul Julia as Gomez Addams, but again, one of the whitest characters you can take. And you put Raul Julia in this role. I love it.
Hey, he nailed it though. To his credit, he absolutely nailed it.
I was so bummed that we did not get him in a second movie.
Well, speaking of ones,
we didn't get him in the third one.
Speaking of actors, we lost way too soon, man. Yeah. Raul Julia, I love him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was Puerto Rican, by the way.
Puerto Rican.
Okay. I apologize for that. I had no. So I thought. Yeah, Razor Ramon was really cool, and then when he left and went to WCW, like him joining WCW and kind of kicking off the New World Order era that changed everything in that industry. Like there is a pre-NWO and there is a post-NWO. Like NWO inspired, like just that existing kind of forced the WWF to turn their to turn into to bring up the Attitude Era, and that kicked off the careers of like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock,
The Rock.
Edge, and like Chris Jericho, and all these different like all these other people kind of like flourished in that, and that was all a response to the NWO. Scott Hall had a shit ton of personal problems, drug and alcohol problems. Unfortunately, at one point, WCW, the company he worked for, tried to turn that into a storyline, and where they should have been getting him help. And it kind of set him up on a road to, like a lot of problems. The later part of his life, from what I understand, he really got it together. He got very clean. He started getting into yoga. From what I understand, he died. He was getting a knee surgery or some sort of hip surgery. Yeah,
it was a hip replacement.
And, he basically went into a coma under the knife and never came out.
He had three heart attacks over the weekend that they think were attributed to the hip replacement surgery. He never pulled out.
It knocked a blood clot loose.
I had to have knocked something loose. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the official cause of death. Was
is that what the official cause was? Yeah.
Blood clot.
I mean, I remember I had to go and look it up again, and I was like, man, I remember this guy because I watched wrestling when The Rock first hit the scene, and anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Dwayne Johnson Rock fan. And I loved watching them, go at it and everything. I didn't know a lot about him, but it's to, we grew up watching these guys, and to see some of these guys dropping off, it kind of hits home a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you could tell when he joined NWO and teamed up with Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash, there was something special there. Yeah. And like Greg said, I mean, it absolutely, there you go. I mean, it absolutely kicked off an era, a brand new era. I mean, Degeneration X, all of these factions, more or less. I think it feels that's where NWO absolutely kicked all that off.
I like this quote that Dirk put up: "Hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do."
Yeah. Yeah, it's the saying that is Razor Ramon, the bad guy. Even when he was when he was a baby face, he was always the bad guy.
The bad guy. Yep. Yeah. Well, the only other thing I had on my list of fun stuff to talk about tonight is good old the Kenobi trailer. Who has seen it?
Oh, I've watched it at least 100 times already.
My bad. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this. Who is psyched for this TV show?
Me.
I am.
Specifically me. Yeah. Definitely me. Yeah.
I'm just glad. I'm glad that Ewan McGregor came back. Man,
I am too. And that and Hayden Christensen is returning to do Vader, which pretty much after Revenge of the Sith, Hayden Christensen did a couple of movies and then fell off the face of the earth.
I'm okay with that.
He basically just said, screw Hollywood, I'm going to go raise my family. But seeing him come back and actually having the chance to try and do his Vader justice, I think is great. And he had such chemistry with Ewan McGregor in the first place.
And to be fair, his non-Star Wars stuff that he did, like Glass, is still one of Shattered Glass is
excellent.
One of the best films I've ever seen.
Jumper
is a movie that absolutely suffers from a terrible editing job and from a script that went through too many rewrites. But
I was about to say it suffers from a lot
of things. But the actual serious drama film he did after Star Wars kind of was like the thing that made me go, oh no, it was the directing in Star Wars that was the problem. He was given no direction whatsoever.
He was pretty much given a direction to be a whiny ass too.
Pulled it off. Nailed it.
Is he going to do the Vader voice, or is that going to be James Earl Jones or the one actor that they use for the video games?
It's probably, if anything, I have not heard yet either way. I'm suspecting it might be Hayden. But I suspect if it doesn't sound right or doesn't come off right, they may use the guy from the video games, who, by the way, is also the guy that does the voice of Vader in some of the cartoons. And if you are a Disney fan and you have gotten the kyber crystals that go in the lightsabers, it's his voice as Darth Vader in a red Darth Vader kyber crystal.
That's also the guy who used to do the Chad Vader voice on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Chad Vader. Yep.
Chad Vader. Yep.
Yeah.
What I'm finding interesting with, obviously getting Vader back and getting some more Vader story is very interesting to me. Star Wars came out when I was, knee-high to a grasshopper. And honestly, somebody asked me, who's the oldest character in your head? Who's the oldest character you've carried with you in your head, as a writer? And I had to stop and think about it. And I was like, you know what? Darth Vader. Because I've written a lot of Star Wars fanfic and other fanfic over the years. And truly, when I stop and think about it, Darth Vader's probably the oldest character that still hangs around in my head and occasionally, greets me with
very unsettling.
That's you in the first thing in the morning. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much. After I've hacked up a few other things.
Oh, no, wait, that's me. Sorry, my bad.
Being able to see that and being able to see, like we see in the trailer, we see Luke sitting on top of the hut, pretending he's flying and blasting bad guys. These are the things that, as an OG Star Wars fan, I am just like jonesing for. These are the things that I need to see. I hate that I've had to wait 40 plus years for it, but okay. Well, that's all right. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, that's always been one of the biggest questions in the back. I mean, well, I say one of the myriad of the big questions in the back of Star Wars fans' heads is what happened between the period of the time that Obi-Wan dropped Luke off at Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen's and the start of New Hope.
Yep. Yeah. What happened?
Especially because in so I know we're gonna get into this, but talking about some of the characters that we saw in the trailer, but like Rebels was a fantastic show. I loved it. I was not a fan of Clone Wars necessarily, but I loved Rebels and I loved Jedi Fallen Order. And I felt that they did a really good job of reminding us. Yeah, Walt's right. But they did a really good job of reminding you where Obi-Wan was in terms of when Rebels took place, because there is a time frame in which Ezra is on Tatooine, which is really cool. But there's still so much to be explored through there. Also, speaking of actors coming back, I'm just really excited that they got Owen and Beru's actors from.
Yes.
That's really cool. I'm really excited for that. So
I was glad to see that. It helps lend continuity. When Disney bought out the Star Wars properties and they said all of these books are now alternate universe, they kind of bit their nose off to spite their face a little bit, because there were a couple of really good books about Darth Vader that talk, that described, Anakin's first years in the suit, learning how to, become Vader, learning how, basically having to relearn how to use the Force and everything. And these are stories that I would love to see in, real life on the TV, like we're getting now. I love the fact that they have gone back and they're doing Obi-Wan's story, because there was always so little about Obi-Wan in the first place, even through Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get Obi-Wan through Clone Wars. Obi-Wan and Anakin are they are our base characters throughout all of Clone Wars and everything, but still, we still get so little of Obi-Wan. And I think being able to see, and at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when Yoda tells him, "Training I have for you," and we get the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. Are we going to get to see Qui-Gon Jinn?
I mean, I think Liam Neeson's probably really busy trying to rescue more family members from more obscure terrorist groups.
He's filming Taken 200 right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Taken 200 could trapeze across the dunes of Tatooine for 5 minutes, okay?
Just
5 minutes.
Qui-Gon Jinn, I don't know who you are. I have very specific that I'm still.
If you have
All right.
stolen my daughter, I will find you and I will kill you.
Qui-Gon had a daughter? Of course Qui-Gon had a daughter. He's like the
Qui-Gon
one
had a
Jedi
daughter.
I would expect to break that rule wholeheartedly.
I have a particular set of Jedi skills.
Yeah.
That is
You want to hear my conspiracy theory about the writing out of the books and things from the canon?
Oh, you have a conspiracy. Oh, please do
Dude, tell.
My conspiracy theory, and this is probably going to make me a very unpopular among the fandom, but are you familiar with the Disney Must Pay movement?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So people like Alan Dean Foster and writers like that who have kind of did a lot of work for Dark Horse over the years and are now seeing their work being republished without
compensation.
Without compensation.
Yep.
If that work was to be adapted into other forms, it would be under the it would subject them to it would subject Disney to other requirements, like not only novel authors rights, but the different requirements under the Writers Guild of America and different Screenwriters Guilds. So my belief is that they wrote a lot of those things out because they knew they were going to bring a lot of these things back in house, and they thought they were going to be able to circumvent having to pay for them if they were never going to have a chance of being adapted into other mediums, because you're always going to have to pay the original writers if you were to adapt those things.
I think you probably hit it right on the head, especially considering we know for a fact that people like Ed Brubaker have gotten very little by way of even like, oh, hey, thank you for creating the Winter freaking Soldier.
Yep.
Like we're gonna throw Sebastian Stan in like 8 films, but we're not gonna do anything more. But thanks, Ed Brubaker. And I mean, when you're working for a comic house, you kind of know that what you're doing is for the whole brand, and you're not going to get really anything out of it. But
what I find
it's a damn shame with authors, because the folks who worked on Legends absolutely should be paid, and there's really no excuse for what Disney's doing. It doesn't make, and legally it doesn't make any sense either. So
especially and Kat and I have had this conversation multiple times. Especially, we are seeing some of the Legends being nitpicked and popping up in different scenarios or popping up as characters. I'm sorry. Kylo Ren was a direct ripoff of Jocelyn Solo.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Something in my throat.
Frog there, Kat?
I'm good. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Grogu been feeding you. Everything's fine here. Everything's fine here. How are you?
Great conversation anyway.
Great boring conversation anyway. Chewie, we got company. And okay, so moving on. We've seen some of these scenarios being pulled. I mean, some of the stories in Book of Boba Fett were pulled from Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina and Tales of the Bounty Hunter. I brought up Kylo Ren already. Poe Dameron was kind of almost, not Poe, Finn was almost a direct copy of a character called Tycho Selku in the X-Wing books, who was an Imperial who defected to the Rebels. We've seen this, and
I mean, that being said, Poe is kind of like a mishmash of Corran Horn and Kyle Katarn and a couple of other that Han Solo road, and you're like, they pulled all the best of the best.
Yeah. So, I don't think you're too far off on that conspiracy theory, Greg. I really don't. Wall brings up a good one here. Obi-Wan's relationship with Satine Mandalore. I would have loved to have seen more of that, because let's face it, we all know what was going on. So I am looking forward to seeing the Inquisitors, the Imperial Inquisitors. This is, through the years, writing Star Wars fan fiction and playing on different Star Wars role-playing boards, we have seen Inquisitors before. As a matter of fact, I kind of played one on a board, Jonam Dubcat, in case you're wondering, because he basically became an Inquisitor. So seeing them and seeing how they go after the Jedi, and completely trying to wipe out the Order, because we know this happens. So seeing how it happens, is going to put a lot, it's going to connect a lot of dots.
Yeah, because Jedi Fallen Order, which if you've not played the game, I mean, it's kind of like a like milquetoast from a gameplay perspective. It doesn't do anything like dramatically interesting with video gameplay, but story-wise, I feel it's a really like just a solid single player driven narrative game for Star Wars, which we've been sorely lacking for a long time. Like, I mean, even before Force Unleashed. But I really loved it. I part of me keeps wishing we're going to see something of Cal Kestis in this, but I don't think we're going to see anything like that because I just don't think they're going to tie those things together, because if they want to do anything more with Jedi Fallen Order in terms of a sequel, they're going to want to try and keep those things a little separated. Yeah. But we did see Inquisitors, in that we saw, I think, like, we saw two sisters, and obviously second sister was a major, or not second sister.
Yep.
Yeah, second sister was a major part of Fallen Order. And so we've seen sort of like the process of how they turn people into Inquisitors from Jedi Fallen Order. And then in Rebels, we saw, with Sarah Michelle Gellar popping up as a sister, and then Fifth Brother, who I think is actually in the trailer for this.
Fifth Brother is in the trailer.
Sure, Fifth Brother, yeah.
Yep.
And obviously the head Inquisitor is in this as well. Like I'm really curious to see, because we know that this is got to be right around the time of Rebels taking place, if not like right before. So I'm really curious to see how much we're going to get into that and sort of see what the Inquisitors were like at their most terrifying. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the Inquisitor lore and anything that's sort of that gap between the fall of Order 66 and
the full rise of the Empire.
Yeah, I highly recommend, if you are at all a gamer, go play Jedi Fallen Order if you haven't. It's a little buggy sometimes, but it's worth it, and the cast is really good. So,
alrighty. So, I'm going to turn it over to Ben. He's been the quiet one here tonight. Ben, what do you got coming up, and what is on your plate? I heard you've got some things going on, man.
It's the quiet ones you got to watch out for.
Yeah. I just finished helping out a friend of mine, Ryan Wynn. He used to be an inker at Top Cow Comics. And I think he worked for DC a little bit too. He has a comic book coming out called Hammerella, and I was his color assistant on that. I just got that project finished up like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And currently I just got done writing a script for a book I hope to put out next year called Little Jack. And it's a superhero horror kind of mashup. And that's what I got going on.
Is it a book or a comic?
It's a comic book. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice. What inspired you to do that?
So Little Jack is kind of like the mascot for my own publishing company, Halloween Head Comics. Matter of fact, I can share an image.
Yeah,
please do.
Yeah.
A second here.
While you do that, Dirk said, great insightful commentary on the subject of Obi Wan. Thank you, Dirk.
That was all Kat and Beth, man. I just sat back and let them work.
Dude, man.
Master and apprentice is how it works.
That was genius.
Master,
There always must be two.
That was genius.
Padawan. Her.
Wow, where are you
At
pointing?
least like it's fifth level. I mean, come on.
Oh, all right. By now, yes. All right, let's see about Ben's guy here.
Didn't you say that first book was Hammerella?
Yeah, that first book is called Hammerella.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
Oh, that's
Fun.
cool.
All right.
I love that.
So this little guy was like my mascot for my comic book. And my brother did a drawing. So character got a little bit darker.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
It's really cool. And then my friend Ryan's like, I want to draw that character. He looks so much fun. So he did this awesome drawing.
Yes.
That's rad.
Yeah. So then I took it, I colored it up.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
I was like, no, I have to write a story about this character.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing. And
Dirk
this is
wants to know about your coloring process, man. Talk to us.
all right. So just real quick, this is like the last image I just did recently after writing the first script. This is the character and his alter ego.
So cool.
Thanks.
I love it. That is awesome.
Yeah, so my coloring process, I don't like to mess with too many layers because it gets confusing. When I first started coloring, let me drop this off though. Let me quit sharing here. When I first started coloring, I used to have like 100 layers and I'd get lost in where I was at with stuff. So I learned to keep it simple. I have my flats layer, my render layer on top of that, and like a special effects layer. And that's pretty much it.
Well,
Dude, that looks rad as hell, dude.
Yeah.
no
Thanks.
kidding.
Yeah.
There's so much dimension there.
Thank
So
you.
much, so deep. That's amazing.
Yeah, I just want to show off that transformation of just this simple idea that I had kind of off to the side, just a little fun character that I had just as filler really for the comic book. Just kind of saying, Happy Halloween, that sort of thing, to all of a sudden he's this fully developed character.
Is that Photoshop? Or how did you, what did
Yeah,
you work,
yeah.
do that
I
work
did that
in?
in Photoshop.
You're just doing it all in Photoshop. Okay.
Yeah, I draw in Clip Studio and then I color in Photoshop.
Oh, okay. Where can we find your stuff?
My stuff, you can go to Halloween Hood Comics on Facebook. Just search it up, and I sell the comics through what's it called, Kablam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Back when I lived in the States, I used Kablam a couple times for comic book printing. The first run of Keepsakes was through them. They do
cool.
amazing work. They're
do.
really, really solid work. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what I got going on.
Dirk wants to know: are you going to do a Kickstarter for the new project?
Yes, please.
Yes, I definitely will.
Yes.
Yeah, it won't be till next year. I'm writing the second script currently. I want to write. I'm planning it on being a 4-issue miniseries, and I want to have all the scripts done before I do anything with it.
Oh, good. That gives me a year to raise my funds, man. I'm all over that. That looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, it's super cool, man.
So Walt brought up this. I'm trying to find out who the actor is. Okay. Walt pointed this out real quick back on Star Wars. Han from Fast and the Furious. Actor Sun Kang.
Oh God, that is that actor.
Yep. I was trying to figure out who it was too. Walt found him. Walt
That's
found
awesome.
him.
Wonderful.
Ben, you need to get with Dirk and schedule when you're going to come on the show again, because
Yes, please do.
Keep you coming on here and hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, no, I enjoy hanging out. This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of y'all, Ben, Greg, for sure. That artwork, both of y'all, those projects look amazing, and I'm all over those. I can't wait to read those.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I have found that I kind of like horror comic books. They're kind of fun. So, they're different from the usual. Dirk went and did some digging for me. There's no word on who's doing the Darth Vader voice yet, so I guess it's still up in the air. We still got rumors swirling around, which, we need to find out. This is need to know information, Disney. This is need to know.
It's either no word because they don't want to spoil it, or it's no word because they don't want to hear backlash.
As long as they don't tell Tom Holland, we're okay.
It'd be a little weird if they brought in Hayden Christensen to just be the body actor for like bring him all the way back to Hollywood to just do what a stuntman would have already been happy to do. So I can imagine
I already have the theory that he's going to be seen as Anakin at least more than once.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're going to see either flashbacks with Anakin, or we're going to see Anakin without the helmet on.
Or it's maybe like he'd end up doing something like he can maybe like a Sith power is he can project like a Sith version of a Force ghost or something, but like while he's still alive.
Which you probably can. Yeah.
I mean, they had Snoke tie Rey and Kylo Ren together. I don't see why they couldn't have it be an intentional choice here.
Yeah.
On Vader's part.
Greg, we want you to come back too. You've been able to hang with us and man, you really your comic book stuff too, which is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I tried not to get like too weird about like pre-Final Crisis fucking ramble on. It's like that's not what Lex Luthor would do.
You get weird here. It's fine.
There are episodes of this podcast that go 3 hours because we ramble. All right, Dirk, Walt, and I alone can do a 3-hour ramble on a TV show spoiler. So don't feel bad. You're okay.
My first appearance here, which I mean, this is only my second one. My first appearance here, I went on like a 5-minute rant about how the MCU did Sharon Carter dirty. So don't feel bad, man. Like, they'll let you yell about anything
it's all
here.
good. And Dirk agrees that we're probably going to see Vader without the helmet a lot. Yeah. I'm okay with this. This is good.
I'd like that. I think it'd be interesting.
I would too.
But yeah, I'm in for coming back at a later date. Obviously, I'm in the UK, so I probably can't go to 2 a.m. every Tuesday night. But, yeah.
Oh, why not?
Come on, man.
You're not just nocturnal by nature. I mean, you lived in Florida at some point, and we're all weird here. So
yeah, my days of going to the castle in Tampa and stumbling home drunk at 3 a.m. is probably a little past me at this point. No,
now you're all at the Trafford bar, right?
Yeah, stay away from Trafford. No, I live in the northern quarter of Manchester, and that's bad enough. But yeah, Trafford's crazy.
Oh, I love the Trafford pub when we were there. That place was amazing.
I love any pub in England. I'm sorry, I just can't help it.
Fair enough.
It's a pub.
Fair enough.
So let's move on to On Blast, and let's see what everybody's been consuming this week. Let's start with let's start with Steve. Let's give Steve some love.
Do that to me. This is where I've been for the last 2 weeks.
Whoa, you and Walt, man.
Do you have the steering wheel?
Yeah. I managed to grab on to a PS5 run around the late part or early fall, I guess, and run around September is when the pre-order came out for Gran Turismo 7, and of course I've been an ardent fan ever since the day it started. So, of course, I'm an addict. My name is Steve, and I'm an addict.
Hi, Steve.
So Walt says Tuesday nights are the only nights he's awake past 8 p.m. That's because he's playing that game with you.
No, Walt has his own
okay.
little Gran Turismo world he lives in for sure. But yeah, it is a religion for me for sure. But that's on the video game side of it, and then I'm a huge virtual motorhead. But on the video side of it, I watched the movie on Netflix recently called The Atom Project with Ryan Reynolds. And great. You know what? I kind of, obviously you watch movies like that just specifically for some actors, and obviously Ryan Reynolds is priceless. But man, there was nothing about this movie that I didn't like. I mean, it's a mixture of comedy and sloshy romance / sci-fi movies. It was a little bit of mixture of everything, but it was extremely entertaining, and so highly recommended on my part. But past that, that's all I had for this week.
All right, Steve, I want you to grab what's behind you, and I really want you to bring them in close so Kat can see them.
Which side?
Where's with the Speed Racer model?
Yeah, I was gonna say both are equally interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm a huge Speed Racer fanatic.
That's awesome. Nice. I didn't see that there. That's great.
This is my cell phone cover.
Yes, that's fantastic.
Very nice.
So I'm a huge Speed Racer fanatic. I mean, Walt will be able to tell you that. My license plate on my car is STVRCR, Steve Racer. So
I love it.
I was talking about the other two.
Okay.
How did you like the movie, Steve?
The Speed Racer movie?
Yeah.
Well, Greg, it's been real good talking to you, man.
I think that's a big fat deal, Greg.
Yeah, here you go, Beth. This is the most recent one. Jeez, that's in there.
And then we watch Steve injure himself on camera. Please don't. That is
smooth
gorgeous.
shave, right?
But you see what it is, right, Kat?
Yes.
That's Connor's katana.
I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna need a second.
And of course, then
Also,
you
I just
follow that
remembered
up with.
Cavill's playing him again.
Of course, then you follow that up with Duncan's katana.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
So, and then the other one.
Both on the show, you had to show them to her.
Well, the other one on the wall is the broadsword from Kill Bill.
Sweet.
Yes.
So,
Awesome.
show and tell is over. Next.
So just so everybody knows, Dirk has been consuming Batman 66 on Tubi. Go Burt Ward and Adam West.
And one of the best versions of the Riddler. Yeah, I said it.
Yes.
I don't care what anyone says about the Nolan movie. That's not the Riddler.
That's
I'm gonna be salty about that. Sorry.
You be salty about it. Now,
I'm salty about that.
what have you been consuming? Oh dear niece of mine.
Oh, it's me now. Okay.
It's you now.
Yeah, okay. So obviously, guys, I am working on my scripted audio drama, Genesis Avalon Patriot. We talk a lot about patriotism and nationalism and all those fun things. So recently, I got my trade paperback copy of the United States of Captain America, which is the newest follow-up to Ta-Nehisi Coates' run of Cap. So
I need to finish my Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, it's basically, I would say I finished the run. I freaking loved it. He did such amazing things with all the characters. I really love what they did with Sharon. And this, I gotta say though, this series though, it's a great little segue between where they have been and where they're going. So the premise is that Steve and Sam end up going across the country to save young Captain's America because an underground network of little freedom fighters taking Captain America's title and kind of costuming themselves have started helping to fight off fascism and jingoism and bigotry in their hometown. And so you meet all sorts of different types of people calling themselves Captain America. And it's great. Like there's little dossiers. So like Steve and Sam will meet that Cap, and then there'll be a dossier from the Captain's Network of what Steve and Sam thought of that Cap. So that's really cool. My only qualm with it, glaring omission of Agent 13, but that's fine.
Glaring omission of the Winter Soldier too.
No, he's in it.
Oh, Bucky's in that
there. You gotta get there, but he is a Captain America, and that's actually important. So yeah, it's really great. They recently announced that this was part to spin off the fact that there will now be 2 Captain America titles soon. One that will be Captain America that is Steve still, and then one that I think they're calling Sentinel of Liberty, and that's going to be Sam. So we're going to actually have 2 Captains America again. It's going to be really cool. Yay! I'm really excited to see that because I'm very excited to see where Mackie goes from the MCU perspective, but I'm also very much a Steve Rogers, Sharon Carter, Bucky Barnes, the whole Cap fam fan. So there's that for what I've been reading. And then I went and saw Uncharted again this week for the 3rd time, and I'm happy with this decision. I loved Uncharted. I'm a huge fan of the games, and I like that they're trying to sort of retroactively retell the story, fitting in some things that they sort of shoehorned in towards the end of the story. So I really liked it. I think Tom Holland's fantastic.
Also a Tom Holland fan.
I am a huge Tom Holland fan, obviously. Oh, Spidey, my Spidey. So yeah, I am a huge Tom Holland fan. I really am. But I genuinely did love the amount of work he put into it. The way that he played Nate, I thought was really great. There's a distinct difference between how he's played Peter Parker or some of his other characters from Cherry or Double All the Time. He's definitely Nate in his own way, but like you can tell that he did vocal training to sound like Nolan North. And Mark Wahlberg is a different take on Sully, but he's still Sully, so I like it. And then Sophia Ali did a fantastic job as Chloe. I love Chloe Fraser probably more than life. I've loved because Claudia Black played her, so yeah. But I thought Sophia did a fantastic job. And I look forward to seeing more of that. And then, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I've been watching All of Us Are Dead, the South Korean horror series that came out this year and premiered on Netflix. It's 12 episodes. It's a little long in the tooth in some spots, but I like a lot of South Korean drama and shows. I find that the journey is just as satisfying as the ending. So if you can follow along with characters and go on the journey with them, and you don't worry too much about where the story is necessarily going to go next. I personally found it very enjoying and very fulfilling. I thought it's one of the things that I really like about Korean horror is that much like J horror and other adaptations of like kind of what we've traditionally seen as like Western concepts. I love seeing how zombies have been adapted into East Asian and Southeast Asian media. So this is yet another fantastic version of that between Kingdom and this, and then kind of Train to Busan. They've really sort of created a version of the zombie that is kind of like one part the runners from all of the Western media, and then also one part almost demonic possession. Very much going into sort of the animist shaman sort of, traditional old school Korean traditions and spirituality. So I really liked it. I highly recommend anybody, if you're into K-drama or K-horror at all, definitely watch that. If you
don't
get
have
a
to
chance.
check it out. It sounds interesting.
It's really
really
Walt
cool.
says Gershon is king. Yes, he is. And Noah North, Superboy, Superman.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yes.
I love him in Young Justice as well. I mean, Nolan North is the man of 1,000 voices. You've heard him in everything. He's been in everything, and I can't wait to see what he does next. But Tom does a very good job doing his own spin. I like what Nolan said about Uncharted. He said he went to the set and visited, and he was like, "I love it because it feels like the Kelvin verse."
Oh, nice.
He said to him, it felt like the Kelvin verse. He had no, like, Nolan North has been a loud supporter of the film. He's not at all been like a jerk about it. He's been really happy for it. He loves it. And he wants people to love it because he feels like it's Chris Pine playing Kirk, So, and he even said that. He's like, he's like, this kid's great. He's not me, but he's also Nate. And it's fantastic. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I got.
Kat, I'm into K-pop. Does that count?
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. As long as you don't hit me with a fan cam, we're good. Right.
Steve, I'm right there with you on the K-pop. We're good.
I mean,
little Blackpink.
Blackpink is amazing. I mean,
Yes,
I love
they are.
sour candy. Sour candy with
Seven-
Blackpink and Gaga is awesome. And I actually have now
BTS,
converted to liking BTS. I hate this way about myself. It's fine.
I love BTS. So
Butter's a really good song, man.
I know it is. I know. All right,
Sorry,
Ben.
I derailed him again. Go ahead, Ben.
That's
Sorry,
all
Ben.
right. Ben, what have you been taking in this week?
On weekends, I've been watching the old George Reeves Superman series.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
What's it on?
Nice.
It's on H&I, Heroes and Icons channel.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta look for that one.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent weren't called Martha and Jonathan. They were actually called Sarah and Evan on the show.
Remember that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was weird. It kind of threw me.
I'll use that on my next trivia night. Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
no joke. That's a good one to hold on to.
Yeah, other than that, I really don't get a chance to read a lot because I'm usually working on stuff, but I'll listen to audiobooks. And I just finished the third Jeff Vandermeer novel, the Southern Reach trilogy. It's called Acceptance.
We'll have to look for that. That sounds good.
Those books are so good. The movie was great, but the books are so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't end the way I thought it was going to end. I thought it was going to be more Lovecraftian. I guess that's what I was hoping for, but it was still interesting.
Still a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Good.
I'm having a minor existential crisis because I just realized I never read the third book. Sorry.
Now you have something to go read. There you go. There you go. All right. Greg, what have you been consuming?
So I've been, I'll show you three things that are basically what I've been consuming outside of my partner and I's obsessive watching of Netflix's Too Hot to Handle.
Nice.
Which is like, if you like trashy reality shows, watch all of them. Watch the Brazilian one especially.
Oh my God.
Let me see here.
Lately, I leave my trashy reality shows to RuPaul's Drag Race.
All right. We're not quite a RuPaul family. We are a Dragula family.
Oh, nice. Okay. There you go.
If anybody out there hasn't watched Dragula, it's basically RuPaul's Drag Race, but based around like campy horror. And instead of like doing like lip sync offs.
Uh-huh.
The people on there like have to do insane challenges. Like you have to stand in like in a vat of scorpions or something.
Oh, wow.
And the person who
so
jumps out first loses and has to go home.
It's RuPaul meets Fear Factor.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay. See
Did
that
Rob Zombie not only give the name but like EP it? I'm so confused. I really feel like he would be totally on board for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So what I've been watching? So I recently watched this movie on Netflix, which is called "There's Someone Inside Your House," which is basically I want to. Okay, so this does. I'm not going to throw a shade at the new Scream movie. I think it was a fine movie. I watched it on a plane pretty recently, but it was pretty good. But this actually takes the Scream formula and puts it into a modern setting in a very, very interesting and unique way. So it's a movie that has basically the conceit is a bunch of people in a small town are a bunch of teenagers in a small town are being hunted down and killed by a killer who wears 3D printed masks of their faces. So like whoever the victim is that he is tracking down, he is wearing a 3D printed mask of your face, and he has a some sort of reason for going after each of these people. So it's they all have some dark, weird secret in their past that he is basically using as an excuse to murder them. So it's a slasher movie. It's a teen slasher movie though, so it's not too out there. But it was just a really endearing movie. I really liked it. It has some pretty great representation as far as like people from different racial and gender and sexual backgrounds. It's a very like it feels like a very modern take on the Scream formula, and I'm here for it. Like it was really great.
Nice.
Just looking at the movie poster, it reminds me of the Christopher Reeve era Superman movie. Clark, his parents' farm.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw this poster for Superman, I would assume the storyline would be a lot closer to Brightburn.
I'm having Children of the Corn flashbacks here, so yeah.
It's just basically it is set in it's sort of like one of those like it's a big area but a small town. Everybody, it's a very like it's a rural town.
So Malachi is going to come out and talk to us soon. Okay, great. Awesome.
So recently I read this book, which is Transmuted, which it's just not going to load it up, huh? So Transmuted, it's a body horror movie based around the story of a trans woman who is seeking basically like facial feminization surgery. It's about a trans woman. It's written by a trans woman. It's kind of digs into a lot of topics around body dysmorphia and the trust that you have to have in the doctors that you are working with when you're dealing with things like that. And it's a really gross, nasty, weird, kind of funny sometimes, strangely endearing body horror movie. It's a very like weird one. It's very much about fixing things about yourself that you can and accepting things that you can't fix.
So it's basically the train wreck version, a book train wreck version
of you mean the movie Trainwreck?
No, it's a book. You were saying it's like disgusting and everything, and it's that book that you can't put down because it's like watching the train wreck.
Sort of. If like the train, like if you felt really really positive and like just really like really warm about the train wreck as it's happening. Yeah. If like you're like, I'm really sad about this train wreck, but I'm really rooting for this train wreck.
I'm really rooting for the train.
Yeah. And also I am rereading for like the fifth time, Alan Moore's Providence, or Alan Moore and Jason Burroughs' Providence.
Very nice.
This is their take on the Lovecraft mythos, basically put through the perspective of taking place in 1910s, late 1910s, early 1920s, through the view of a gay Jewish man living in New York and his attempts to try to write the great American novel, or at least research the great American novel after a small, a pretty significant personal tragedy kind of like stirs him into getting out of New York. And encountering all the different things that could possibly be the direct inspirations for the various monsters and creatures and characters in the Lovecraft mythology. Lovecraft himself is a character in this book. It really delves into his... It delves a lot into not only like Lovecraft, his history, his family history, his relationship, like his, the issues with, with Lovecraft's racism, but also like that, his racism sort of relationship to just general existential anxiety, but then also digs into the history of weird horror. There's a lot of like Robert Chambers references and where do all of those come from? And there's a lot of different authors like S.T. Joshi is an actual character in here, and he's one of the preeminent like Lovecraft scholars. Just it's a really, really well written, really dense, really interesting book. It really sort of not only digs into weird horror, but also sort of explores literary criticism in a weird way. It's just there's just so much in it, and I've read it 4 times now. I'm rereading it for the 5th time. I'm always finding something new in it, and for a comic book, that's usually when I reread a comic book, it's a comfort thing. This thing, I discover a new thing every time. So yeah, Alan Moore's Providence. I have it in hardcover. There's soft covers out there. You can usually find the individual issues really easily because Avatar Press printed like 8,000 versions of each variant cover. But it's a great read.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right. So 2 weeks ago, as you guys know, I came back from Disney, and you all got to see the fun stuff, and you got to see the lightsaber hilts. Well, I got the
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, let's get back a bit.
There's try to ignite that and not like rip out that nice mic that you have and everything.
Yeah. Let's not say we did, right?
Light it up. Light what?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it makes the noise. It does the thing.
It does the thing that my husband can really make it. Dan, who has had sword training, can really make it sing way more than I can. I do not have the blade out for Count Dooku's right now, but same idea.
I'd say I'd trade you a Highlander katana, but no.
No, you made that heavy sigh, so now she's gonna go do it, and she's gonna sigh the whole time while she does it.
It's for Steve.
Aw. I'm touched, and not just mentally. Okay, I'm really kind of drooling right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I bought Dan's. I bought Dan. Why are you not making noise?
Oh, you broke it. What?
Ooh,
Oh boy.
nice.
Okay. Well, damn it.
So there's there's what it looks like.
Okay, I'd be lying if I said that was not just kick ass beyond description.
Really cool.
Well, when I finally got the blades in, Dan stood here and played with both lightsabers for like 20 minutes.
That sounds right. That sounds accurate.
As I had expected. So there you go, guys.
Beautiful.
As promised. So yeah. So I do have wall mounts for them. So eventually you'll see them hanging up behind me here once I get around to it. Obviously TV watching, finished Peacekeeper, finished Reacher, caught up on the 2 new episodes of Picard, which if you haven't watched it, oh my god. I'll just put it to you this way. Q. Q. Q and Sir Pat stew in all his Shakespearean glory.
Nice.
Yes. Catching up on Discovery. That's pretty much been it on my TV watching because I have picked up yet another editing job as well as some website jobs that I'm working on for some fellow authors. But with that being said, I sponsored a Kickstarter last year. I am a huge Witcher fan. I love the games. I love the TV show. Love the books.
What?
And I sponsored
we never knew that about you.
Yeah,
no, not at all. It's complete shock.
I sponsored a Kickstarter last year that I found just looking for Kickstarters. Dirk says cool lightsabers. They are so much better with the blades in them. Anyway, I found a Kickstarter and it's called The Witcher Ronin. They basically take Geralt of Rivia and turn him into a samurai Ronin. And I finally got it.
Okay, that's cool.
That looks really nice too.
Oh, cool.
It's a really nice cover.
The artwork
okay,
that is beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's awesome.
It came with the hardback. It came with a small paperback version of it, all manga style. Some postcards, and then these I fell in love with these. These are alternate cover dust jackets for the hardcover.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very nice.
Very, very
We'd
cool.
be over here drooling.
And I love that they have his wolf on the back. But these are just some of the variant covers and everything with them. So when I got this, the box, the way it was packaged even was phenomenal because the box had the wolf all over it as well. I didn't realize that when I pledged, I got in early enough to get the figurine that they were also doing. I think it was like if you're the first 2,500 to pledge, you also got this.
Very cool.
What?
Yeah, it's Geralt of Rivia as the Ronin fighting a Tengu.
That's awesome.
Where was I on this?
I don't know. I pledged this like July or August of last year. And I was just on Kickstarter. It was after we did a show, I think, with Andrew Guile. I just went on Kickstarter and was looking for comic stuff, and I came across it, and I was like, holy cow. So when I opened up the box and I saw that the figurine was in there too, I was like, what? So my husband paints figurines, and I told him, I said, I don't care what color you paint him. I said, as long as his hair is silver, like the Witcher's is supposed to be, I said, you can do his clothing in any color you want. So he's thinking of ways to paint it for me.
Okay, that's awesome. Gonna be stinking cool.
Yeah. I've seen what Dan does with his Warhammer figures and the amount of detail and patience and time he takes in just painting Warhammer figures. This is going to be badass when he's done with it. So that's what I have been consuming this week.
I'm seriously distressed that I missed that Kickstarter because that is gorgeous.
Yeah. I it looked really good when I saw it, Steve, and when I got it the other day, I was just like very gingerly turning the pages and looking at it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. So, yeah, that's what I've got.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And obviously, you know, I'm doing my writing thing. So
You put out like a book or something that, you know, that was a thing that you did.
You know, yeah, I got like 4 books out, and right now I'm actually working on a short story for an anthology. I have 2 anthologies that I agreed to do that were part of some of the book signings. One was for the Love and Devotion book signing that I did in San Diego, and one is for the Sultry in the City book signing, which is in August. That one has a tie to foster children, because the lady who is doing the who's hosting the book event is a foster mom, and she's been part of the, you know, working in the foster system for years. And so this was a theme that she wanted within the books and the story, you know, in the anthology, and the proceeds for the anthologies going to a foster charity in Houston. So I've been toying with some ideas. I am not used to writing 15,000 words. I'm used to writing way more than 15,000 words, as Kat will attest. So this will be a challenge for me to keep it short. We'll see how this goes. So
you can always try doing an audio version real quick if you would like to, you know, cut your teeth on short stories. Just saying.
Thank you.
Pendant has a show that takes submissions for short audio scripts. I'm just saying.
Which one is that?
Seminar, actually, which
is that
oddly
Seminar?
enough,
okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, and Seminar also oddly enough goes along with that whole sort of cyberpunk / I guess analog punk is what I think that's what I'm going to call Blade Runner / kind of obsolete. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Seminar is always looking for submissions for folks who want to try their hand at writing scripted audio drama, and we have an editing process and everything, and it goes out there, and you get credit, and it's out there forever, and you own the copyright. So yeah,
there you go. I like it.
Beth, you're forbidden to do anything until I get my new Highlander fanfic.
Wait till the movie with Cavill goes into like production, and you get production stills, and then all of a sudden she's gonna be like, I've got it.
Yeah, she'll get inspired. I completely agree.
Yes. So trust me, honey. Just wait. If you need me to send you more things to read, I will. So just for anybody who doesn't know, my Highlander fan fiction was probably one of the very first fan fictions I ever wrote and completed. Kat's laughing. She knows.
Gold. It's gold.
I've never shared
it was handwritten, and then to give me a copy to read, she photocopied it. Like that's how old this.
That's how old this was. Yeah.
Oh, I got a Word document.
Yeah, no. See, I had like the original.
The original Word document was printed on a dot matrix printer. Okay.
Yes.
But you know, I shared it with Steve just for fun.
Yes, you did.
And he loved every second of that crazy, silly little Highlander story. And I also shared with you my Farscape fan fiction.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. By the way, Kira in my Farscape fan fiction is Kat.
Whoa, look at this. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote Kira for Kat.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go read it again.
You have to go read it again. I actually found the rest of the one story that's at the end of that that I thought I had lost. So once I get it all pulled into a document and formatted, I will send it to you, sir.
So it's 9:15 now.
Yeah,
So
hang on a
9:20.
second. You can send it to me too. You know that, right?
Me first.
I'm pretty sure you read it though.
Like ages ago.
Okay. See,
so I was saying it's 9:15 now, so I'll expect that in my inbox about 9:20.
You'll get it tomorrow morning, sir.
Yes.
Because I have to go find it.
Okay.
I did appreciate all of the new readers of Age of Wonder, by the way, from when I was on here last time. So
there you go.
Yes. Apparently part of the cross section of loving Wonder Woman and the Kelvinverse Star Trek. Thank you.
She followed in my footsteps. I can't help it. We've thrown monkey wrenches together, so yeah, it is what it is. All right, promo time, guys. Before we get this too far off track, because
I'm a pro at derailing.
You know how far off track it. Where is the promo thing? There it is. We're going to throw it over to our guest tonight, Greg. Greg, tell everybody where they can find you and all your stuff again.
Okay, you can find me at the Twitter. You'll see down there, ritual_83 on Twitter. You can also go to ritual83 without the underscore .rip. Yes, that is an actual domain name you can get. You can so yeah, go to either of those. The Twitter is my unrestricted brain farts, and the website is a little bit more is a little bit more curated. So go to either one of those. That will get you all of my up to date projects and everything that I'm working on. If you want to see something else that I'm going to be working on, you can go to on Twitter at Cloakroom Comics, CLOAKROOMCOMICS. They'll be putting out Tales from the Cloakroom, which is an anthology. I'm going to be having a short story in probably somewhere towards the middle to the end of the year. Not only me, there's going to be multiple really, really talented authors, some of whom are pretty seasoned, some of whom are just getting their first shot. We're all, kind of in a, we're all, we have a kind of a, we're all in it together kind of thing going on. So I really feel strongly about this anthology. I really feel strongly about all these people I'm working with in it. They're all doing really, really well. They've done some really, really great work, both editing and promoting so far. So hit them up on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, just send me. You can DM me. My DMs are open. My ats are open. Just say, you saw me on this show and you want to chat. I always love, chatting with people on the internet in a non-adversarial fashion.
Yes, nice.
Yeah, that's all I got right now.
All right, Ben, what do you got for us?
I am on Twitter at The Human Studios, and you can also look me up on Facebook. Just look up Halloween Head Comics and just follow the page.
All righty.
Absolutely, will do. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Kat, what you got?
Okay, so you can find me on my Twitter at Genesis Avalon. That's the name of the show, obviously, that I work on with Pendant Audio. You can also find me by adding at Pendant Web or at Pendant Audio. And if you aren't sure how to get a hold of me from there, they will tag me in and I can chat at you. But my Twitter is also very much whatever I'm working on and whatever I'm talking about. At the moment, it's been kind of dead because I was off across the country. It was a long story. Didn't have access to Twitter, but it was a road trip and it was really pretty. But I'll be back on Twitter a little more often now. And then if you're interested in any of the stuff that I work on for Pendant Audio, you can go to www.pendantaudio.com. PENDANTAUDIO.com, where you can check out Pendant Audio's vast catalog of scripted podcasts and unscripted podcasts. As I mentioned, you can listen to all of Genesis Avalon, and you can start listening to the sequel, Patriot, which you do not have to listen to Genesis Avalon for. You can dig right in with Patriot. It's kind of like the post-blip era of Avalon. So we're trying to pepper in trivia and all the information you'll need if you don't have time to go back and listen to 50 episodes, but it's totally worth it in my opinion, but I'm biased. You can also check out Seminar or Kingery, where I'm one of the staff writers. And like I said, that's where you can find me. And I've got all sorts of stuff going on there.
All righty. Shanktify.
Oh, dear.
I got a ticker for you.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. I'm official. I've got a runner now. That's awesome.
I need to make one for you, Kat. I'm sorry. I didn't have enough time tonight.
To be fair, it's only my second appearance and it was last minute. It's fine.
Well, as it says, I've got them on Instagram. My main account is Shanktify Yourself, but I also have another account. It's the number 918abspotting.com. It's just a various smattering of all my aviation photography and miscellaneous photography on top of that. My personal website's 918art.com. And that will be all my graphic design work, as well as short biographies and miscellaneous artworks as well. So, or photography as well. So that's me.
Alrighty then, and back to me, Beth A. Freely, Dirk 2.0. Hey, there it is. If you are looking for web design work or book editing, you can find me at themusesfunhouse.com. If you want to check out my author page and read my blog, you can go to bethanne.freely.com. You can also find me in the usual places: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Most of them are B.A. Freely, Freely. Please don't throw the extra E in there, because, you know, people have done that before and you won't find me.
I do it just for sport.
Yeah, I also have a Patreon account, patreon.com/BethAnne Freely. Come help support, starving writer. And if you want to see all my other stuff, go to Linktree /BA Freely. I'm trying to think. Do I have any? Oh, yeah. There is an event this weekend for those of you in the DFW area, or if you're traveling on from Oklahoma. Free Range Pumpkins, the game store here in Arlington, Texas, will be having their grand reopening.
What?
That is, there will be a ribbon cutting on Thursday and Friday, as well as some games. And Sunday, we will be having the Barry Bonilla annual Magic the Gathering tournament. Barry was a friend of ours in the gaming circle who passed away a couple of years ago. And every year we throw together a Magic the Gathering tournament because it was one of his favorite games. It has grown from a handful of friends to now a major event. And this year just happens to coincide with the grand reopening at Free Range Pumpkins. If you decide to come down, I believe the gaming will start at 11 in the morning on Sunday and go until 5:30. Buy-in for this is $40. It is a build your own deck session, and there's always some great prizes for the winners. Plus, Free Range Pumpkins will be donating some money to a local charity that helps with I'm thinking she's going possibly with the Marines or some sort of charity the Marines are involved in, because Barry was a retired Marine. So that is at Free Range Pumpkins. It is on Bowen Avenue here in Arlington. Come see us for the festivities. I will also be setting up a table, because I was asked to set up a table and sell my books, because, Amy thinks it's cool that she knows an author. So if you want to come out and see me and pick up a couple of my books, I'll be there Wednesday and Friday from 4:30 to 6:30, and Sunday from, I think, 12 to 4. I think that's the times I'm supposed to be there. And that's all I've got. Anybody got any closing remarks? Anything else?
I'd like to thank you all for having me on. And like I said, probably couldn't do this every week, but I would love to be back anytime you can fit me in.
Yeah, we definitely want you to come back. Oh, April 5th. Hold on. April 5th, the first Tuesday in April. If you are interested in hearing more about Pendant Audio and Genesis Avalon Patriot, Kat and her co-writer Chris Bays will be on the show, talking about what they're doing at Pendant and talking about Avalon and everything else.
That's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun show. Thank you, Dirk. Glad you let me, step in your shoes for a Tuesday night. Hope you got your work done. But other than that, once again, if you know anybody who would be great for our show, please have them contact us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. Reach out to Dirk or any of us on Facebook, and we will make sure we get you on scheduled and you can come and hang out with us crazies. For Task Force Geek, I am Beth A. Freely. I want to thank Gregg Alexander for, spending way more time over in England than he probably planned.
Yeah, good night, Greg.
Kat for being on the show. Until next week, same bat time, same bat station. This is Beth Freely signing off.